What's going on, everyone? So we are inching closer and closer to the upcoming Welcome to Derry It series. Pennywise is returning. We're getting Bill Skarsgård back as Pennywise. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping that this is a good series. Right? There are plans to make 3 series, and that's great. I'm all for that. But we've seen a lot recently, particularly in horror, putting the cart before the horse, and it just doesn't work out. I mean, look at the Strangers. We're about to get into Strangers chapter 3, and the general consensus is like the first 2 movies were bad. Are we really expecting the third to be any good? A lot of people think the second one is worse than even the first. And it's just, again, you put the cart before the horse without creating some new, vision or idea, right? Like you see these horrors or these studios, period, trying to, cash in on these big names and these iconic franchises. That's fine as long as it's done correctly, as long as you do a good job. And I am a big fan of creating horror series because you can just do so much more, especially something like It, right? Where, like the original It back in, what was it, 1990 or whatever, right? Like that was a mini series. It wasn't like just a film. It was like a 5-hour mini series, right? And you were able to get so much across it. I've always talked about the original It. I felt did a really good job. It was better. It did a better storytelling job, right? It took its time and paced itself. Where the recent, 2017 It, and then even the sequel, those are great. Don't get me wrong, but those are more the full horror. Like they lean more into the gore, the horror. It was a more darker, more brutal. But some of the story wasn't as well fleshed out as it was in the original, right? And I've talked about it. It'd be great to have a series where you can kind of combine the two. Well, another big element of this is It, right? The clown, Pennywise. Well, we got reports that Pennywise is not going to be in this film or in this series a ton. And seen a lot of mixed, just kind of conversations about that. So let's get into exactly what is said, and then we'll dive into it. So Pennywise won't appear in It, Welcome to Derry until later in the season. It is a shape-shifting creature, and in the movies, there's only so much space to see those non-Pennywise manifestations. So, again, per these reports, they're talking about, like, hey, in a movie, and this is why I like the idea of series, right? This goes into why I'm regularly talking about how, hey, you can make a really good horror series out of these iconic franchises because you can take your time and pace yourself, right? Like it was even said, right? Like you can't in a hour and 45-minute movie or a 2-hour movie or even 2.5 hours, right? You're trying to get established and across Pennywise. You don't have as much time to do all the crazy, the spider. And then, I mean, even in like the book, like he turns into the Wolfman, which we got to see in, 99, but also like Frankenstein and Dracula and all these things. Like there's so many different iterations of it. Just the clown became the kind of the main guys, the moniker for it, right? So, I'd love to explore and dive into all these various kind of versions of Pennywise, right? All these various versions of It, where it's not just the clown, right? And I mean, even Bill Skarsgård, you can have him play all the different iterations, and we've seen in the trailer different kind of, or what appears to be different versions of Pennywise. So I am all for this, but I've seen a lot of kind of narrative going around of like, It, the clown is, and I get, the clown has become the sort of mascot and icon, because you look at, again, the mini series back in 1999, and then, or sorry, 1990, and then the recent installment in 2017. It's just it's become this thing where the clown is what everyone kind of adds to it, right? Like Ghostface to Scream, right? Jason to Friday the 13th, right? Freddy to Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Like all of these things. Art the Clown to Terrifier, right? Tim Curry did such a great job with Pennywise, and then you add in Bill Skarsgård and his portrayal of Pennywise, which he did such a good job, right? Like it's become the mascot for it. But again, that's not the only version we see, right? He turns into an old lady, right? He turns into these creatures, these monsters, a spider, all of these things. Even in those films, yes, Pennywise the clown, the dancing clown, that was, you know, again, kind of in the forefront, which I imagine they will, right? And especially in all, because again, there's going to be 3 seasons, especially in all the other seasons. I imagine that they will, but again, it's not like you want to explore different things, get more into the book. There's so much in the book that wasn't anywhere in any of the films, like a lot of stuff that you could really do that could translate really well and could be a lot of fun, especially with today's technology, kind of the modern times. I think you could get away with some really cool just versions of it, like different versions of like the creature taking forms, because again, it transforms into your fears, right? So it's not always going to be a clown. Like, what are you most afraid of? What are you most terrified of? That's the whole point, because it feeds on fear. So if I'm somebody that's not afraid of clowns at all, he's not going to take the form of a clown to me. Or even if I am afraid of clowns, but I'm more afraid of whatever, moths, right? Or I have some, like whatever, right? Like that's the form he's taking. He's taking the form of what are you most afraid of? You might have 10 different fears, but there's something that you're terrified the most of. And that's what I want to feed on, because I want to generate as much fear as possible. And so to me, that's where I kind of lean towards. Like, I think that that's a great idea. Take your time, flush out Pennywise, flush out it, flush out different versions of this character. Like we have the films and all that stuff, but you're going from, even like a 2.5 hour movie, you're turning that into an 8 hour plus series, right? Like you just have so much time. I mean, even the 5 hours that the other two movies combined do, right? Like you still have almost double that time. And again, so you could pace things, develop characters more. All of those I think are very, very important. Especially when you're trying to get a series such as It and Pennywise and doing things that we haven't really seen yet. Like how do you differentiate? How do you make this stand out more than others? Right? Like get creative. And I like hearing this. I like hearing that, like, hey, they're really, they're looking to get creative type thing. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love this idea? Do you hate this idea? You kind of like, nah, like, just stick to Pennywise because that's the thing that's most successful? Or do you think like, no, like, let's have different creatures. Let's have different, transformations and stuff. Are you looking forward to this? How do you feel either way? Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.